Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. We are back to react to the first car launch of the season of 2024, sorry, 2025. I mean, technically we've already seen the Mercedes, but that wasn't, sorry, the McLaren, but that wasn't really an official launch. That was kind of a surprise out of nowhere revealing of the car, which whilst amazing, didn't give us the kind of glitz and the glam of a car launch. So we're going to be here reacting live to Williams unveiling their car for the 2025 season, the FW47. Um, Honestly, really intrigued to see what Williams do this year. They're a team that I've discussed a lot in terms of their development, their trajectory, and just the overall project with James Vowles because I think they've got a lot of things going for them. So yeah, looking forward to see how that plays out, and I'm intrigued to see how they kind of handle their launch this season with the FW47. They're a team that I think historically has pretty, I would say, well timed launches or pretty reasonable ones in the sense that they don't go crazy with doing too much. They don't give us like a half-hour presentation before. Maybe they'll give us some interviews and that kind of thing, but um, it's just going to be, I think, a relatively standard launch. We'll see the car on track for the first time, which is great. So let's see. Let's wait and see what they produce. And yeah, this is kind of the part of the year when the hype for the new season really starts to build, and I'm really excited to see what Williams bring. Williams are a team, I must say, who are probably one of the ones we're going to be watching with the most anticipation this season, if anything, because they're a team who, as we all know, have signed Carlos Sainz this season, the first race winner to drive for the Grove-based team since Felipe Massa in 2017. So it's been quite a while. A very big move for them, a very important signing for them and their future. And yeah, I'm really excited to see what they can pull off. Great to see you in chat, Caden. Welcome in. For those who don't know, I am streaming on both YouTube and Twitch, which will take a bit of getting used to, but I'm sure that I'll be able to get up to speed with how things work on both platforms. But no, really excited. This should be a really fun launch, and I'm really excited to react with all of you guys. So yeah, let's get into it. Ava, great to see you from the Discord server. Welcome to the chat. How are you? Yeah, it has been a minute. It has been a minute. It's great to have you back there, and great to be back in the F1 season, really in full swing, I would say, back into the rhythm of things. But all those who are joining from Twitch, from YouTube, welcome in. Um, just to clarify, I remember I saw some confusion yesterday regarding the McLaren launch. There were some people who seemed to believe that McLaren had shown their actual livery. All of these teams are going to be showing what I guess you could call one-off liveries for their launches, because all teams are required to only show their actual liveries at the F1 event next week in London. So we're just going to be seeing kind of most likely one-off liveries. I wouldn't be surprised. Today is Valentine's Day. I wouldn't be surprised if Williams have a Valentine's Day themed livery um for their launch. I could be wrong, but that's kind of my suspicion. Um so I think yeah, the the meta. And yeah, I'm expecting that we'll see James Vowles speak, Sainz, Albon, all the drivers will probably have something to say, which of course is very good, which is I think what you expect at these launches, and we'll see the car on track, which I think is going to become more and more common for these teams who want to kind of give fans some interesting content. They'll just put the car right out there on track for everyone to see. Um, and yeah, looking forward to that. Generally speaking, though, what are our thoughts on Williams this season? Are we enthusiastic? Are we confident? Do we think that they'll be able to, climb the field? What are our thoughts on kind of the Williams trajectory moving forward? Because I must say, I think Williams this year is kind of a free hit for them. I don't see them being in a position where they have a poor season, to be honest. Um, Second, guys. The bitrate is struggling slightly. But I don't see them in a position where they can really have a bad season. Even if, let's say, they finish eighth in the constructors or ninth again, something like that, they could just say, you know what, we're focused on the new regulations. That's a priority, and therefore we're not too fast by having a bit of an off year in terms of performance. But I do think that with Albon and Sainz, they'll be able to improve on where they finished last season, where they of course finished ninth, which wasn't ideal, but we all know the crashes, the development issues, Sargent, Colapinto. There was a lot going on for Williams, which I suppose kind of can act as mitigating circumstances. But they've got a really strong lineup. I think Albon and Sainz are one of the better lineups in the midfield. Some would argue the best. And I think we're going to see the hype that was at Williams probably before the whole Sargent mid-season swap and that controversy. I think we'll see a lot of that hype returning. And I'm really, really excited for that. So, let's see. I think Sainz will probably beat him. I agree. If I had to guess, my assumption my assumption would be that Williams have a pretty decent package that allows both drivers to, fight and to be competitive. I would assume that Sainz is a bit quicker. Maybe initially Albon has an advantage just because of his experience at the team. But I would generally expect Sainz to be a bit quicker overall. But I don't think that it will be really one-sided. I think that it will be really pretty close between the two. Albon will hold his own. And this is, it's a pretty big test for Albon because this is the first time that he's going to be driving with a teammate that I think is pretty highly regarded. With all due respect to Sargent and to Latifi, it's quite hard to judge how good someone is when that is their when that's kind of their reference. Thank you for the follows, Manilo Twitch, JT Rebs, Paige Wallace. If you're coming in from the broadcast channel, welcome in, guys. How are you? 100 viewers, insane. Well, welcome to the stream. We are about to see, for the first time this season, an official car launch with Williams unveiling their 2025 car, the FW47. What are my expectations? I think we'll probably see the car on track. I wonder if we'll get onboards. They might do that, though in the past they have just gone for the kind of more traditional angle. But we'll probably get some juicy camera angles. I expect that we're going to see Williams give us interviews with James Vowles, with Carlos Sainz, Alex Albon. So it should be a very fun time. And yeah, if you are new, welcome. I'm Jaden, Formula Racers, and I stream most days. Most days. So yeah, I'm looking forward to streaming here with you guys and reacting to the launch, and it should be, I think, a pretty fun time. I think hello in chat, Mintu, JT Rebs. So do they not have to wait for the F1 launch next week? So for those who aren't sure, let me clarify a few things. The F1 launch event next week is going to be where teams show the official car liveries, not the cars themselves. There's some confusion about this that I want to clarify. Teams are not going to be showing. Thank you for the follows, Victor and Hyro. Welcome in. Teams are not going to be showing us their actual cars next week. What they are going to show are their actual liveries. Now, some teams before next week's launch event are going to be showing us the actual cars. We saw the actual McLaren for this year yesterday, but it was with a special one-off camouflage livery. And today, Williams, in a similar kind of vein, won't show us the actual livery, but they're going to show us the actual car, which, from what we understand, is going to be a pretty big evolution from last year's package. For those who haven't been keeping up, or for those who want a reminder, Williams are a team who, how do I articulate this? Williams are a team who last year kind of compromised their strategy, but their approach last year really was to try and develop this year's car as soon as possible so that when this season begins, they can shift to the new regulations in 2026 as soon as possible. That's kind of been the Williams approach for some time now, right? So I will say, because of the crashes that they had last season, their strategy has, I think, been somewhat impacted, but their overall kind of philosophy is still the same. Now, how successful are they going to be this season? I don't exactly know. Thank you for the follow, Joe. Appreciate you. But I think this is the most hype that we've seen at Williams for a very long time. So I'm intrigued to see how things go. Thank you for the follow, Danish Kid, or Danish KFD. The launch is about to begin now, guys. So if you haven't got it on your screen, have a look. It is on the Williams YouTube channel. I'll link it in chat. Once we have official images, I will release it. But I'll put in chat the link to the launch for those that haven't got it on their own screens. Right. Are they showing it already? Let's have a look. Of course, this is now Atlassian Williams Racing. Williams have got a brand new title sponsor, which is very interesting, very cool for them. And it's worth noting this new sponsor isn't just like financial in terms of what they'll bring. They'll also bring technologies, logistics, software, which Williams have been already working on to kind of modernize. Thank you for the follow, Real Zondo. So, yeah, I think it's going to be really fascinating to see what Williams cook up for us. So, we have got the car already. So, Williams wasting no time. I will post it across socials once we get better high quality images. But this is, I think, this might be last year's car with their one-off livery, which I must say looks quite nice. Danish, switch over to YouTube. You can have me in the background, but I've put the link in YouTube. That I will show the actual car itself when it's shown on screen. Thank you for the follow, Ellie Wiz. Appreciate you. Thank you for the follow, Neptune and Gab Cavil. So, Williams have added some new ambassadors, including Jacques Villeneuve for this year, which I would describe as an interesting choice. Finally, a face with the account. Thaz, thank you for the follow, and I appreciate that. Welcome in. I'm glad that my face isn't too off-putting. So we're still going through the introductions here for the official launch. I do think that we're going to see the car on track live. maybe asking for an onboard is a bit too much, but I feel like we're going to get some pretty concrete angles here of the car's first runs. Of course, this will be a filming day for the team, so they'll have some time to get some mileage in the car. Right, so we're going to have some interviews, which I must say is not a massive, massive surprise. Um, so we've got James Vowles now. When's the new Williams head gonna let go of the name? I think one of the conditions, Thaz, when Williams bought the team, was that when Dorton Capital took over the team, is that they weren't going to change the name. So I actually don't think that will happen. As in never, I think there's a time clause in that contract. Potentially, I must say I'm not completely sure what the Williams approach is in that sense, but I don't think they'll change the name. I don't think that Dorton Capital have got any reason to change the name, to be honest. But I could be wrong, but I think the name will stay the same. So we're getting a very nice speech here from James Vowles. Keep the Duracell battery, but the Duracell battery is there still at least. Yeah, I don't think that the Duracell battery will leave that spot for a while. Probably one of the best pieces of marketing in F1 that I've seen in recent years, in terms of the sponsorship placement. So James Vowles saying that you can expect them to fight for wins in 2026, 2027, and 2028. At the very least, those are the years when he expects the team to move forward. I am honestly so intrigued about when they're going to start making progress, guys. Okay, so we're going to have quite a few interviews here and different people talking. But I will say, in terms of the Williams project, an important thing for them is really going to be balancing expectations or managing expectations. Obviously, they're a team who are on a journey to the front, but when you have a race winner like Sainz in your team, and when you put in the effort that they did to sign him, you have to make sure that you deliver some kind of performance. Because what can end up happening is that as a team, sure, you're still progressing, but the expectations have risen. This is kind of what Aston Martin were victim of, or fell victim of, when they signed Sebastian Vettel, which is that they weren't ready to be at the front. But when you have a champion at the team, people expect you to be there. Um, so honestly, it's an interesting kind of dynamic. Um, in terms of how they're going to balance those short and long-term objectives. The camouflage livery does look nice, but of course, it's not going to be the actual livery for this season, so... So they are taking us to the garage, where I assume we'll be able to have a look at the car leaving the garage. I assume that we'll be able to see the car in action. Thank you for the follow, Stan. I appreciate you. Actually, in chat, whilst we're here, what position do we think Williams will finish this season in the constructors? I'm really curious to see if anyone can see them being like best of the rest or in that fight for P5, P6. I actually do think that 6th place is possible for Williams this year. That might sound a little bit optimistic, but I do think with their driver lineup, and if you consider that last year they couldn't really bring many upgrades because of their crashes and that kind of thing, I think there's a lot more performance on the table at Williams that I'm relatively confident in compared to some other teams. But ultimately, I guess time will tell. Who do you think personally will be the world champion this year? I mean, if I were to guess, I would probably say Leclerc, if I had to guess someone, but it could be him, it could be Hamilton, Piastri, Norris, Verstappen, Russell. But I have the feeling that it could be Ferrari versus McLaren this year, just based on that trajectories at the end of last season. I think it does remain to be seen how aggressive some of these teams are going to be with their kind of how aggressive they're going to be with their kind of development this year. Some teams might stop focusing on this year relatively early and focus on the new regulations. Some might keep on developing late into this year if they feel like they've got something to fight for, something on the table. So it's going to be, I think, an interesting kind of experiment to watch unfold. Thank you for the follow, Prowls. Welcome in. So yeah, the Williams team are gearing up for to get the car on track, which is kind of what I was hoping for. So really happy that we're going to see that. Hopefully everything goes well, because what you don't want to do is have a launch and then things go wrong, because that obviously doesn't look very good. Mobile Boy says 6th, but they want to win in 26, so I wouldn't expect more than 7th. Yeah, I mean, I think most midfield teams will be happy to give up P6, P7, or P8, or at the very least to not give everything to secure those positions, because there's a lot more to fight for next year than there is this season. So it would make sense that teams kind of make that sacrifice. It wouldn't surprise me at all, personally. And now we have got Albon and Sainz. I must say, them showing up is not a massive surprise either.